All right, good afternoon. It's that time again where we bring you fresh news off of social media on the program The Buzz. Welcome again. It's midweek, Wednesday the 17th of July 2019. My name is Patience, your regular anchor on the show, and it's always indeed a pleasure to be here. Needless to say, my regular Wednesday panelists are here, but missing one. And on that note, I'd like to send a quick greeting out there to Chuks Nwanne of the Guardian newspapers. He's been under the weather, under it, seriously for a bit now. Okay, from us to you, Chuks, so wishing you quick recovery from whatever the ailment is. Die by fire, like I say. Get well quick and get back on the show. All right. Mr. Adegbero Nuruddin is here again on the program this afternoon. He's a lecturer, a journalist, and he's a social and political analyst as well. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good to have you here.
Please, get up.
Get up, how far? All right, welcome, Mr. Adegbero. Also, Mr. Segun Sopitan is here, a business and financial consultant. He's the chairman board of trustees for ACT Network, a good governance advocacy group, also a social and political analyst. Welcome to the show again, sir.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Welcome to the show. Welcome, viewers, to the program today. Remember, you're a part of it. Just use the number 0802-836-8971 for correspondence. And quickly, before we go into discuss today, let's go and take a look at what to expect on The Buzz this afternoon. All right, welcome back. Now to a quick look news this afternoon. Shiites protest yet again after clash with the police. Members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria engaged in yet another protest yesterday in Abuja, just days after they clashed with the Nigerian police at the National Assembly complex. Speaking on behalf of the group, spokesperson for the academic forum of the group, Abdullahi Musa, said the protest will continue as Shiite members are resolved to ensure their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, is granted freedom. In the same vein, human rights activist Femi Falana has accused the Nigerian government of provoking another insurgency. He warned the Nigerian government against its violent approach to handling members of the group who are protesting the continued detention of their leader, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, despite numerous court orders issued for his release. All right, gentlemen, just last week here, we showed video of the invasion of the NAS complex. Looks like this group is not backing down, no matter what.
Well, for some of us that are Muslim, and we know how Shiites all over the world, even in Iraq, in Iran, Afghanistan, in Yemen, they are very, very resolute. But one thing that I will beg the Nigerian government to do is that if the court says you should release El-Zakzaky and you didn't want to release, can you just come out, even if it's going to be a press release to that regards, or tell Nigerians, fine, the court has said we should release him, although the Kaduna court, that is instituted court of this particular case, did not say they should release El-Zakzaky. We must be putting that one into it. But if you are not going to release El-Zakzaky, tell the Nigerians, we didn't want to release this particular man because of security reasons. These are the security threats that this particular man portends to Nigerians. So if you say that, a lot of people will now see reasons to you. You cannot be going against the rule of law, and you are keeping a man for over 4 years now, and it's not good. And for them to be protesting, doing all these things
consistently,
in this case, I must really commend the Nigerian police. In fact, I could say that this is the best time that if they are doing something wrong, we can just berate them, we can talk down on them. But if they are doing very fine, I think Nigerian police have been very, very humane this time around. They are being civil. If not because of that, we know a typical Nigerian police, even a police station, if we protest in the front of police station, we know how they normally
what will be the result of that.
So I really thank them for this.
All right, Mr. Shokpito, yet another protest about the Shiite members.
Yeah, so the guys, I think they've realized that they have the attention of Nigerians.
Yeah.
And they are persistent. And for me, I think it's working, because at least it's working on me. Honestly, because I'm just wondering, 4 years in detention, if the guy has committed a crime, try him, put him in jail, or free him, depending on what the verdict of the court is. But why would you just hold someone for 4 years?
And that length of time.
It's weird. It's very strange. So I like Mr. Adegbenro said, I think the government needs to tell Nigerians it's critical. The Buhari government is losing supporters in droves by the day because of all of these things that are happening. You can't continue to give Nigerians silent treatment as if we don't matter and our opinions don't count, because you will be shocked that our opinions do count eventually. So, you know, they should come out, tell us what's going on, and if they can't, they should just release the guy. If he's a security threat, let us know why and how.
Exactly.
So then we'll continue to support you. Even then, even if it's a security threat, try him in a court of law and put him in jail. If there's any reason why the trial is being stalled or anything, make sure that the information is out there so that everybody knows, and then you work within the ambit of the law.
Okay. All right. It's a very unfortunate situation, but let's hope that the government has the ears of the people and even of the Shiite members themselves, who do not mind putting their lives down to see that their leader is released from detention. Moving from that, let's go to our major stories of the day. The first one is on the menace of street begging in Nigeria, and this is coming after the Kano State Governor, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, has reiterated his administration's determination to stop beggars and almajiris from roaming the streets seeking for alms in the state. Ganduje stated this while addressing the new House of Representatives Majority Leader Alhaji Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa and the people of his constituency, who paid him a courtesy call at the government house in Kano on Sunday. Ganduje stated that the practice must stop as Islam frowns at begging as a means of livelihood. He said, and I quote, "Begging under whatever guise is not legitimized in Islam, and I am determined to stop it at all costs. All those that see begging as Islamic are ignorant of the Islamic law. I have made it explicitly clear that my government is on course to introduce compulsory and free education at primary and secondary school levels in the state." End of quote. All right, you know, this is a social ill. Beggars on the street. Now, I'm even going to move away from Kano as an entity and focus more on Nigeria as a whole. You know what I mean? Begging has become phenomenal in Nigeria. 87 million economically destitute people. Nigeria is fast becoming a begging nation. Mr. Adegbenro.
Well, when we're talking about begging, let's raise it from the northwest and the northeast of Nigeria. For years that I've lived in the north, I could say that even in Islam, I think I've mentioned it on a program one day, that begging, Islam frowns at begging. In fact, if you have to get to the end before you could beg, and when you have to beg, let's assume I'm hungry in the morning, I've worked, they didn't pay me, and I don't want to steal. I can easily go to the next person, please, I'm hungry, I want to eat. I must not beg for more than what I'm going to eat at that particular time. Then I'll continue working. So begging is a bad act in Islam. In fact, under the Sharia law, it is punishable. for somebody to beg, to turn begging into a business.
Okay, but if that is what the Quran says about begging, it's surprising then that more than half of the population of beggars in Nigeria are from the north and are Muslims. How does that work?
One thing there is this. You see, as much as we know that poverty is prevalent, and it's not only in the north, it's all over Nigeria. But what is important there is this. This is a social vice that our government needs to really work on. I can understand where Governor Ganduje is coming from, but the funniest thing there is that every governor in Kano have been saying the same epistle. From Ibrahim Shekarawi, he mentioned it during his own first tenure. During his second tenure, he did not do anything. Rabi Kwankwaso, Governor Rabi Kwankwaso, the former governor of Kano State, also said the same thing. Ganduje is also saying the same thing. Although it's a thing that needs holistic approach. Even in Lagos, go to Maryland Road, you are going to see them. Even in Ikeja, you are going to see them. Go to Agege, you are going to see them. In fact, they are everywhere. This is a kind of thing I could recall during the military era. There is a place called Berger Street in Ebute Metta, where the I think it's under
Kano Street.
Kano Street under Abuja. No, they have a lot of. But there is a place they call Beggar House that they created in Ebute Metta, where all those beggars, I think during the tenure of Buba Marwa or somebody before, so they have to create a place. If we don't work on this particular, because if you get to Songwater, at the tip of that particular bridge, they always sit in between the road, a road that leads to the under bridge and the one that goes on top of the bridge. And this is a hot spot for accidents. How could you describe when a trailer is coming and kill over 40 or 50 of them that will sit on that particular height of them?
In one fell swoop.
And that is one of the things that Nigerian government should see this. Not just any other thing. If, as much as we know poverty is prevalent, they need to work on this particular, create a place for them where they can sit. Even if somebody wants to go and give them or dash them, a foundation should spring up that can really cater for all these things. I know and I believe, this is my belief, that even in Lagos, that is what we call corporate beggars. They will suit up very well, they'll come and meet you. You will not even want to give them 15 naira or 100 naira. But one thing that I know of, nobody is going to be wealthy and still be begging.
Go on the street and beg. All right, Mr. Sokoto, begging has become quite endemic to us as a people. Do you think maybe a more fundamental look into the issue, will yield a better result?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so the first thing we've got to understand is that there are beggars all over the world. It's, the way the world is designed, it's a world where value is exchanged with money. And money doesn't fall on your laps, you work for it. You have to work for it. You've got to get up in the morning and go find something to do, create value, earn money in exchange for the value that you're giving. So within that context, it's important to understand that anybody who fails to fulfill that societal pattern will fall into economic disadvantage. And usually, how do you deal with it when you don't have enough money to eat? So begging comes in various shades and forms. I mean, even amongst us as a society, I know people who get by on a day-to-day basis by begging. They are not on the streets, but they even have a language for it, almost like what you are saying, like corporate begging. Guys that they wake up in the morning and they put calls through to one or two people, bros, help me, and then somebody sends them 5K or 2K or whatever, and that's how they get by. So we've got that category of people. But I think that in Nigeria, obviously, it's become almost endemic, and it's obviously tied to the poverty question. You can't divorce it. So when people are disadvantaged, you don't have money, you've tried to work a bit and you're not getting money, two things can happen. It's either because of your strong moral values, you decide that I can't steal, you now go and beg, or you go into crime. So that's why you find that as long as you have poverty being as high as it is in Nigeria, things like begging will persist and crime rates will be high. Kidnapping will be high. now insurgency is a new thing that we're dealing with, the insurgents would have a large pool to recruit from. If you go to the United States, there are beggars under bridges and in all sorts of street corners in certain parts of the different cities. You know, there are places you won't find them. But when you go closer to the slums, you find beggars there. So this begging thing, for me, it boils down to a failure of governance and a failure of the state. How do we deal with it? Deal with the poverty issue from a very systematic, strategic point of view, where you've got a program. I like the fact that the president for once came out and said they're taking people out of poverty over the next 10 years. What we now want to hear and see is the specific strategy, policy, implementation, the how.
Are we going
that
to
we're going
arrive
to arrive at that point? How many people are coming out of poverty over the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and all of that? What programs are you using? So when people politicize some of the policies, I just laugh. When you talk about, you see, with the level of poverty that we've got in Nigeria, even handouts, what the government called conditional cash transfer, it becomes necessary so that you reduce this issue of begging. But then what you must not do is to continue to give them that money in perpetuity. All states across the world, functional societies have what they call a social security system, where you've got food stamps or some sort of handout or the other from the state to help you through your period of economic disadvantage until you find your feet. So our government needs to look in that direction, find policies and programs that will take people out of economic disadvantage and take them out of the poverty trap. Until then, your beggars will always be with you.
Okay, so how do we begin to overhaul a systemic failure that has earned Nigeria as the poverty capital of the world? Let's go and see this short clip. We'll be right back.
That's Ogun State. I don't feel remember. As I did, like, nobody say I got and now so them bomb me. If I don't see money, get money, you get work while learn, so that I'll go back to place, go start the work. You know, they easy like this. It's me, I want make government do, you know, pass, make government buy more, make how they drive, they make money.
ọ̀sán ọkàn tí fámìlì ṣe láti ràn mí lọ́wọ́ àmọ́ ọlá ọlọ́run gbà tó sẹ́ni ọ̀kan tó dẹ̀ sí ọ̀kan family man dẹ̀ ni mí ọmọ mẹ́rin mo ti bí nǹkan tó fà á tí tó dẹ̀ sí ọ̀kan tó dẹ̀ ṣàgbára kankan láti jẹun ló jẹ́ kí a máa hustle láti máa ṣe irú nǹkan tá à ń ṣe.
I think the government should be able to get the full database of these people. They should get them together, you know, and then probably put them on a payroll, you know, just to assist them, because most of these people, they don't have access to, you know, to work, and few of them that have access to work, they don't really get patronage. They don't have people to, you know, to offer them, you know, good service and all that.
Government can take all of them to hospital and they can help them, because they don't have anything to do. Apart from anybody that give them anything, or 5 now, 10 now, that will not do them, will not do them anything. Anywhere that they sleep, so gone, it don't even make sense. So government can even take all of them.
Thanks for joining us again. All right, the number to use once again is 0802-836-8971. Okay, 87 million economically destitute people currently in Nigeria. Nigeria is the capital, poverty capital of the world. We are the 6th most miserable country in the world, and it goes on and on and on. How do we even begin? How do we begin to overhaul the system that has evidently failed us?
What we don't take note is the one killing us. What we met. For some of us that was born after independence, what we met has finished. What met us is the one giving us problem now.
Wow.
Because I could recall that between 1960-67, we are now up to 50 million in Nigeria. But within 1970 till around 1985, the way we are skyrocketing, then from 85 to 2000, we are jumping geometrically according to the population. So with that, and another thing again is that as much as we have, God gave us resources that may not literally goes around, but if it's well managed, at least it can really solve a lot of problems. And that is the reason why when President Muhammadu Buhari said that if you don't kill corruption, corruption is going to kill us, the meaning goes beyond the implied meaning goes a long way. Because this is kind of the thing. If you have a kind of leaders that not even care about the rules, they not even care about the environment, they don't give the dividends of democracy, they only think about themselves and their pockets, then you should know that a lot of people that are being impoverished will not be able to have ends meet. Then you have a lot of beggars, you have a lot of poor people, and that is what is creating problem. And what they don't know is this: as much as you have much more poor people in your country, you are going to have high rate of crime, and when they have, even you with your money, you are not going to be safe within the same country that you've looted. And that is the problem we are facing.
Okay.
The better thing for us is that we have to go to the drawing board, which has always been with us. What we just need to do is that all the political elites, the political leaders, they must do the right thing. Our social program must be well funded, well monitored, and at the same time, we must be able to take it from the younger side, because a child that was born by a poor family automatically is going to be poor. It's only take the grace of God for that kind of child, the kind of school you are giving the poor,
The kind of opportunities.
Yes, where is the health challenges? In fact, if you have one recruitment today, you will discover that those people that are political elites, their people are the ones that will feel it. Even the positions that are meant for the poor is not going to give them. We know when we are very, very young that if you have any scholarship program, you apply. If you are very good, you will be picked. I could recall, I didn't know that one of Abiola very, very well. They have one particular, and I just saw it. Somebody just and I didn't know anybody, and I was picked. How many of these recruitments we are having for the poor people? Let me shock you. The issue of the trader money and all this social program, go and see those people that are going to benefit most. That these political elites that we are talking about, what is meant for the poor, they are still going to take it. And that is why all our religious leaders, they must do something. They must do something. They must speak out. They must tell these people that the poor, if you don't take care of the poor within your community, because we are going to rate you according to the number of poor people you have in your country to know whether your system or your policy is effective or not.
Okay. All right, Mr. Shopito. Any hope on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, look, there would always be hope if we just do what we need to do. The government needs to take this issue seriously. Yes, you have a poverty alleviation or eradication program where you're trying to eradicate poverty over 10 years and all that, but this is an immediate problem. So I ask, for instance, who's making the effort to document these guys? How many beggars do we have in Lagos State? How many do we have in Ogun State or your state and all that? Why are the state governments? Because let's not forget, we keep looking at the president. This issue is at the state level. There are beggars in Abuja, but it's not as prevalent, you know, as you have it in these other places. So what are the state governors doing about it? Let them, I'm suggesting, document these guys. Separate the ones that are invalids, that have disabilities, and help them. There are some people that are begging just out of sheer laziness and a criminal mindset. There are people that have turned begging into a profession, where they go out and they deceive people. There are some beggars under the Ikeja Bridge that for years now, for like 3, 4, 5 years, the same guy,
story.
The same story. My child is in lawsuit, kidney, whatever. They have paper, they have this. 5 years, the same kidney product, the person has not died. So there are people like that. Government needs to identify these people, sift them. The ones that are destitute and disabled, help them. The ones that are doing this criminally, if you need to put them in jail, put them in jail. If you need to help them and empower them, empower them. But
sorry, I'm butting in. Can we quickly talk about the failure of government a bit more? Because there are laws, but we all know implementation. I mean, that's a tall order in the country we live in. It is a crime to beg on the streets of Lagos, isn't it?
It is.
But then there are beggars everywhere. And the governor's convoy passes through the road, doesn't fly by air. Don't they see all these things? Don't they know there are laws against this act? What have they done?
One thing there is this. I could recall one of the favorite novel that my daughter loves to read. Is Beggar Strike. She reads it again and again. In our society, when you are part of the people that created that problem, at times you are going to feel strained to do some certain things. Whether we like it or not, our public office holders, they are part of the problem where those people are on the street. I've said it before. Nobody is going to be wealthy. That you are not doing it for ritual or spiritual purposes. I'm wealthy. I can send my children to school. I have a house on my head. I can feed myself. I can afford hospital. Then I will now sit under the bridge of Ikeja begging. It's not possible. For somebody to beg, that means that person is not having enough. As Mr. Shokun has rightly said, it is important now that our government, both starting from the local government chairman down to the governors, then to the federal, that they must take this thing as a main priority. We are going to, in the number of roads you've done, the number of hospitals you've built, the number of social amenities you've created for your people, if you are still having numbers of beggars in your state, then you are not doing something because you are the one putting them there.
Inclusion. Anything more
Absolutely.
to say, Mr.
I mean, it said it all. So now as a society, we tend to have this religious approach to certain issues.
Sure.
And I'm just trying to address the failure of effecting or enforcement of the laws on the part of our government and security forces. So they would look at it and say, this guy is a beggar. The person is begging. You want to go and arrest him again. In fact, if you try to arrest in some places, it's the people around that rise up against you. Like, what are you trying to do? You know. So I think we've got a problem as society as well, where we need to address these things, logically and try to deal with the
holistically.
problem.
All right, let's go to viewers' reactions. I'm starting with Olamide from Fagba. Some people think begging is an alternative to get rid of poverty. That's why the rate of beggars increase daily. We even have official beggars out there now. They dress corporate, they are agile and in good condition. I think it's because of unemployment. Some even decide to be beggars because what they receive weekly is more than the salary of some people working in an office. Thank you, Olamide, for that. All right, this one says to reduce begging, spread the nation's resources and wealth. Okay, this one says, good day, Professor A. Ayemowa Bamidele, all right, thank you for your contribution, but this is not the topic we are discussing at the moment. This other one says this issue is getting too much. Even in Iyanoba, it is worse. Government should find solution. Come to Ikeja. Leave Iyanoba for a bit and come to Ikeja and come and say you'll be bombarded. All right, let's go to another issue, bedeviling Lagos State, the center of excellence. Lagos floods and housing. As we all know, Lagos State is a familiar mess during the rainy season, as many parts are submerged in flood due to terrible drainage system, causing difficulty for motorists and residents in different parts of the state. Buildings have reportedly collapsed due to this excessive flooding in the state. Trees are not spared. In many places, trees fall due to the rains, sometimes falling on cars and causing major havoc on the roads. The rain destroys everything. It leaks through the roof and the flood takes over. Some people have become, homeless, because of this rains and all of that. All right, while I was researching this topic yesterday, I stumbled on a very short documentary, on the sinking houses of Adeniji Adele, where some people are actually living below sea level. Let's go have a quick look at that. We'll be back.
àwọn ya fọ́tò ọ̀la àwọn ya fọ́tò àbí kankan ó ti débi ó ti lé ní 20 ó ti ẹ̀yìn lọ bí 25 pàápàá ló ká àwọn ọdún kò dẹ̀ sówó kò sí kankan bí ti jókòó náà wọ́n jókòó kíkì ọba kan dára lóhùn kìyà ó ti pẹ́. àkọ́kọ́ náà ìgbà táwọn ọkọ mi sí bí wà wọ́n fáwọn kan lówó wọn ní kan lọ gba ilé àwọn kan wọ́n kó wọn lọ síbi tán máa gbé ibi ilé tó dáa àwa ò rí yẹn kankan.
By the time we came here, it was a good place where everybody would like to be living. But as time goes on, there was a SAM filling in front of the FRSC across the road there. That's when this problem started. But to make it worse, by the time of the filling at Ilubin there, all the water have to come back. Yeah, if there is rainy season, there will be a blockage, water will not flow, and then flooding became order of the day.
You don't need to carry this one. That one is on top of somewhere.
The speaker.
Okay.
The speaker was on there. So the water.
Okay.
Welcome back. All right, gentlemen, let's discuss Lagos State's recurrent flood problem. Is there no way out of this issue? Because year after year, we keep, visiting this issue.
Well, when our government fail to, when I mean our government, I'm generalizing it now, because by May this year, Aerological Services, they said 30 states that are going to, they should prepare to welcome flooding. And this particular information, it's like they type it somewhere. When it is May, they will release it. For the last 20-something years, it's still the same information. But the one of Lagos, for a Lagos that was surrounded by water, both on the island, both on the mainland. The problem there is that we know what happened in Morocco. In fact, there is one of my place. The reason why I said my place, because I've lived in that environment in Woloshoki. There is a place called Lekore bus stop by Salami. There is some streets like Bamidele Street, which is my father's street. There is Salami. There is they have a lot of streets within that particular one, although they are not worse to this one of Adeniji Adele. When you have a government that doesn't have plan, this is kind of the social program we are talking about. A situation, the predicament of Adeniji Adele is this. If you go on after the Tomiland Bridge, by that junction of Adeniji Adele, if you look at your left side, you will see Ilubiri. Some people are living there before. The government, I don't know whether they acquired the land or whatever, they want to build very gigantic building there. But before they started that particular building, they have to fill.
Sand fill.
So all those water channel there
was pushed
from the adjacent estates there, Dolphin Estate. Then all the water was channeled towards the right side. So all those people, in fact, when you move front, you will see one road safety office. There is one particular church that you will have seen as it's really bogged down like this. All those people, all those particular areas. In fact, there was a canal there, but that canal cannot take the volume of water that is coming from the other side. And this is the kind of thing that government needs to be done. I could remember during the time of the military era, like those people that was at Morocco, the government had to come into being, tell them, we are going to relocate you people. They relocated some certain people. In fact, I have somebody that happens to be an uncle that's still enjoying a good story building at Ifakojayi now that was given by the government there. That they have to value what they have and they move them away from that particular place. This is high time. Look at this elderly woman living in that with a kid there. And this is the kind of thing that our government needs to do. We should not wait until something now becomes that claims lives, then that is why we are going to take action. So this is the kind of thing. We are looking at the one that is being, you are bringing down a lot of building and that they need to this is the kind of thing that, okay, this woman, okay, part of the government houses that we're looking all around, because there's a lot of government property all around that you can easily give to these people as a succor. And this is the kind of thing that, in fact, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu should look into this particular case. There are a lot of people that are living below the par in Lagos, and they say they are living in Lagos. Some of them, they are not happy they are living where they are living. So the government, as an entity that must cater for his citizens, they must try much as possible to, even if it's a succor. That is why I said all these local houses they are really bringing about. It's not only for the civil servant alone. There are some people, even if you ask them to pay 1,000 naira per month, they can't afford it.
Okay, Mr. Shokwito, let's hear your take on this flooding issue.
Lagos is it's like a tale of two cities. We have two Lagoses, and honestly, it's disturbing. I was almost ranting when I went out. You know, I went someplace I've not been to in a while on Saturday, and I was outraged. Like, do we have a government in this country? You know, now Lagos is a coastal city. What that means is, like you said, we're surrounded by water. You know, to the south, and then of course, the further away from the water you go, the drier things become. But for majority of Lagos, the water table is very high. What that means is that as soon as it rains, 1 hour of rain, the ground becomes waterlogged, and the water will not find anywhere to go. Water must find its level. So flooding happens. Year in, year out. Why? You know, I'm tired. How come there's no solution to this thing? Amsterdam in the Netherlands is a city that exists below sea level. They exist below sea level permanently. They have an intricate network of dikes, automated, that moves, opens and closes with rises and falls in water levels and tide. What's wrong with us? I mean, why I don't understand. I mean, how can that video is outrageous that a place like that exists in Lagos? Where is the government? Is it only about building the International Airport Road, fantastic structure, or hanging a bus stop in the air over Oshodi?
Or catering for the needs of the people.
What about the people? What about the ordinary Nigerians in the millions that are living in despicable and completely unthinkable conditions in Lagos, the most prosperous city in Nigeria? The inequality that we have in this country is simply too wide. There's something they call Gini coefficient in economics. Our Gini coefficient is too high. You can't have in the same country billionaires in their thousands, if not, I don't know, tens of thousands. And in that same country, you have conditions like that. We would always have the poor with us. The job of government is to bridge that gap and close it as much as possible. Our government needs to stand up, wake up, and understand that governance is not necessarily about the grand things. It's not about the ceremonies. It's not about the launching. It's about improving the quality of life. Quality of life in Nigeria is so low.
Very low.
And that's why, you know, so if there is a major flood in that place, people are going to die. Because they'll be trapped in those houses and they'll drown. That's what will happen. They didn't talk about it. Let's go and ask them how many people have died in these 25 years that they've been in that place. So people will die needlessly because government is not doing anything. So I'm saying to the Lagos State government, yes, we need to fix roads. Obviously, our roads are a complete disaster. Let's be systematic about this. The more we're able to tackle corruption, so that the resources that we say are not enough can be channeled into these programs systematically. Take one, solve it. Take one, solve it. Solve it in a quality manner, so that you don't have to go back to
it again.
You know, it's just such it's a mess.
Wow.
I can only appeal to the government to look at this issue of flooding, especially these disadvantaged communities. That was Adeniji. There is Yanoworo, Shoki, there is Ilaje, Bariga, there is Makoko.
Across the whole of Lagos.
You know, we have all of these communities. Even in Lekki, there are places there. Yes, even in Naija, there are places like that. So let the government look at these communities and develop a program. These people are Nigerians too. They have a right to live well.
And a lot of them are tax paying.
They pay taxes involuntarily. So government needs to look at this. Yes, government needs to look at this and really
Okay, let's look at how some viewers are reacting. Kunle says, nothing is working in this country. We need the favor of God to move forward. Patrick Adeshina from Ilesha in Osun State says begging can be eradicated or reduced to the barest minimum if the government of the day goes ideological about the social malaise. Adopting an ideology of social welfareism could be an added advantage. Thank you, Patrick, for that. All right, this other one says government can't do everything because they are limited. They are also human beings. Create a job yourself and stop seeking for jobs. Olabide sent that one in. Hello, sir and ma. Some beggars are pretending because any money given to them they use for rituals. We should be so careful and vigilant. Pastor Sylvester Ogunyeye, thank you for your message. All right. Oh, okay. This is my fan, Dele from Ofa. Thank you, Dele. Thank you for that. All right, let's read one more and go on. Wisdom Ajayi. Oh, Ajayi is saying the effect of neglect leads to stealing, begging, kidnapping, suicide, and the story goes on. What happened to textile industries where I've worked before? Michelin tires, Dunlop tires, Okitipupa oil companies in Ore, etc. I will repeat here again that there is no longer divine wisdom. Okay, thank you so much. Our time is fast running. The issue of flooding is something the Lagos State government has to, I don't know, I mean, words even fail me at this moment, because you need to see what people go through. Getting to their workplaces, anytime it rains, everything literally turns upside down in Lagos. It's like turns upside down, like everyone is affected. It's a terrible situation. This is not my favorite time of the year. Anyone close to me knows that I have been lamenting non-stop because it's crazy. The roads are bad. You can't do nothing once the rain starts. I mean, at some point I was asking God, why does it still rain in Nigeria? We've had enough rain. But I mean, it's as bad as that. All right, gentlemen, we have one more topic. I don't know if we can comment quickly on that in a few seconds. And it's on the Senate calling for a national security summit. In fact, they are calling for an immediate convocation of the summit, you know, to address the insecurity in the country. And this is a fallout of the killing of Pa Fasoroti's daughter on Saturday. Quickly, in 20 seconds.
Yoruba used to say, Ọjọ́ tí ìjì bá jà, tó bá gbé tálákà, wọ́n ní kò sóhun tó burú. Ọjọ́ tó bá gbólówó, wọ́n ní èèwọ̀ wọ̀lú. Did you know what the interpretation is as? When something happens and it affects the rich and mighty in the country, then that is why you are going to see different solutions being proposed and all those things. But all of those people that are being killed, that are still being killed, as at yesterday, on that particular road, and nothing has been done. The issue of the summit is not new. During the last Senate President, Bukola Saraki, about 14 months ago, we also have this, what we call a kind of a security summit. It's not about summit, it's about doing the right thing. Give us security. Let everywhere be secured. If everywhere is being secured, either you are rich, you are poor, you are mighty, you are low, then everybody is going to live in peace.
Okay.
Another thing again is that we need to be just.
All right.
I think these guys in government must really think that we're all very stupid in this country. You know, I mean, they must really think very lowly of us. Because I don't understand. I don't know whether Senator Lawan means well. I hope he does. But what are you talking about? What summit? Summit to do what? To discuss what? The problems are very clear. There are criminals killing people and taking the law into their own hands across the country, across the length and breadth. Katsina, Zamfara. You know, let's leave Boko Haram. It's insurgency. The army is there. In other parts of the country, these things are going on, right? It is not spirits and ghosts that are doing this thing. And we have policemen in this country. They should do their jobs and arrest people. How many people have been arrested since the so-called headers farmers clashes in the Middle Belt? Benue, Nasarawa, you know, and all those. How many people have been arrested and jailed? Why have they not been arrested and jailed? How many people have been arrested in Zamfara? How many have been jailed? The ones that are happening recently in Ondo, how many people have been arrested and jailed? Those are the issues. We don't need any security summit. We need the police and the security services to get their acts together and do what their jobs. End of story.
Wow. Okay, all right. I wish we had more time to actually look at this issue. But meanwhile, it's been a very exciting afternoon with you, gentlemen. Thank you so very much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Nuruddin Adigbenro. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Segun Shokwiton. Appreciate. Once again, thank you, viewers, for being a part of the show. And Chuksuwanne, please get well soon, all right? We'll miss you on the show already. Thank you, Nigerians. Let's keep talking. I know it will get better. Have yourself a great day. See you next